Hi, greetings. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Awakening. And we're going to continue our journey into dreams. And today we're going to focus on the universal language of mind and the symbol of numbers and the significance that numbers hold in our dreams. But first off, I want to just share real quick just a little success. I like to speak out my successes. So the book is finally here. I know some of y'all been waiting, that have been watching a long time here. Been waiting. The book's here. Life is But a Dream. It's been a huge success already. #1 new release in Amazon for dreams. It's #1 bestseller on Amazon. So find and get you a copy of Life is But a Dream. It'll help you. It's kind of a beginner's book in dreams to help you get your foundation, get your basics, help you to understand the basics of dreams, help you to increase your recall of dreams, remember more dreams, or remember more of your dreams. It's a great book. If you don't want to buy the book, there's an ebook also. If you don't want to buy that, you feel free to just sift through all of these videos and things, because you'll find a lot of the same information. Not quite everything that's in the book is out here just yet, but it will be eventually. But it's a powerful book. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about the symbol of numbers and what numbers will represent in your dreams for you. So first of all, let's talk about the basic of dreams. So as if you've watched these videos before, you already know, but for those that are new, your dreams are messages to you from your inner self, your inner teacher, providing you a message each day of how you're using your mind and how to improve the way that you're using your mind, because as you think, so you become. So your thoughts create your reality. So it is very important to understand how you're using your mind, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, to create the life you're living, the person you're becoming, because the more self-aware that you can become, then the more power that you'll have in controlling and creating the life that you consciously desire and deserve. If you put the willpower into creating that, then you deserve it. It's a universal law of divine birthright. You deserve what you create. So with that, a couple things about dreams is, one, every dream is about you, the dreamer. If you wake up in the middle of the night tonight and your significant other in your dream was sleeping with somebody else, don't start smothering them with the pillow. We want to see you back here next week. We don't want to see you in jail over a dream that's about you. It has nothing to do with them. You want to look at the symbols to show what it's reflecting for you and in regards to you. We'll probably get into that another time. That's a huge dream that a lot of people have. Check that for another episode. I talk about it in the book. There's a lot of common dreams to talk about in there, but we slowly have been covering them on here. So rule number 2, every person, place, or thing in the dream is a part of you. So when you go into a dream, you're observing your subconscious mind, which is the thoughts within your subconscious mind are all moving outward to manifest. And so you're observing that as it's happening. So everything in the dream is a construct of your own mind. So all the places in the dream will represent different states of mind that you're in. All the people in your dream will represent the different people that you can become, the different aspects of yourself, because we can all be loving, we can all be hateful, we can all be greedy, we can all be giving. We can all emulate these different things and become that within ourselves, or we can naturally be that, through practice or how we naturally are. So people in your dreams represent parts of you. Everything in a dream, every single symbol is a part of yourself. It's an aspect of you. So, that's one way that you can just briefly get it before you really get a strong understanding of the universal language of mind, which is the language that our dreams are in. You can kind of get a basic feel of what the dream's telling you if you replace each symbol with the word, me, I did this, I did that. If I'm somebody's chasing me in the dream and I'm running away from them, trying to hide from them, I don't want to face them, then I can replace every single symbol with me. I am chasing after I am running from myself. I'm not wanting to face myself, and I'm hiding from myself. So that'll give you a lot to work with, and you haven't even interpreted a single symbol, but you just understand the basic principle that everything is a part of yourself. So that's very important. And number 3, Only you can interpret your dreams. You know, I can help you, or someone else can help you to understand what a specific symbol might mean, but only you can interpret your dreams. Only you, you know, I can tell you that people represent different ways that you can be, but only you can determine what way that is. If your cousin shows up in your dream, or your brother shows up in your dream, or your friend shows up in your dream, you know, only you can determine that. So remember those three things. It's very important. And so those are kind of the basics of dream interpretation. Now, interpreting a dream, we're going to talk about numbers today, but the symbols in themselves are in a language. Our dreams are given to us in a language, because that's how we communicate. Communication is through language. But our mind is a mental communication. So our mind, universally, we all think in images. You know, like I often say, you know, if you think of a balloon right now, so everybody to stop for a moment and just think of a balloon. You know, I'm sure you can tell me what color that balloon was, you know, whether you thought of a red balloon or a yellow balloon. But the reason behind that is because you thought of it in an image. So we think in images. And so understanding that language of images will help you to not only understand your dreams, but you can understand Holy Scriptures through that. I mean, I'm telling you, one of these days I'm going to break down for everybody, put in a video, the creation story, you know, how that's broken down in dreams. The book of Revelations, it'll blow your mind what is the true key to what's contained within the book of Revelations, but also it probably won't blow your mind if you're an avid reader of any Holy Scriptures or any type of spiritualistic literature, because a lot of it says the same thing. So the book of Revelation is just talking about, you know, the 7 chakras and the 7 levels of mind and the 7 doorways into those levels and things like that, and how developing those will what that will produce for you, and how letting them debilitate what that will produce for you, and different things like that. So it's powerful. So the universal language of mind is very important, you know, very important to understand. And like I said, it's the language of images. So you look at the form and understand what is that form's function, and how does that relate to the mind? How does that relate to the self? So first off, what about numbers? The first thing I want to share about numbers is that numbers are essentially a way of highlighting another symbol. You know, so like, for instance, if there's some bears in your dream, and there's you know, there's 3 bears out there, then, or one thing that happens real common is snakes. You know, 3 snakes. Whenever it's snakes, it's often in number 3. That's because 3 will represent creativity, creation. And so we'll get into that further. But the main symbol is the snakes. And so when you understand what the snakes are, then you can apply the number 3, because it'll highlight the original symbol. So numbers are there to highlight the symbols within our dreams. So you know, more important than just paying attention, understanding what numbers mean, you want to pay attention to the symbol itself. But to give you even deeper meaning into that symbol, you know, you can pay attention to the dream, or to the numbers in the dream. So first off, we'll talk about the number 0. Now, the number 0 is a number of power, and that is because you know, 0 is implemented in powers of 10. It's about you know, infinity and wholeness. You know, coming to a completion. You know, coming full circle is what a 0 will represent. But when we come full circle, you know, we aren't just, you know, it's not 2-dimensional of just a circle. Most of all of our progress in this life and through the universe is actually a spiral and an elevation up to a new level. So once that 0 comes back around to a full circle, truly it is a spiral moving upward, meaning you're reaching a new level of that same understanding. So just like our solar system, you know, all of the planets are moving around the sun, and the sun is moving around another star within the Milky Way galaxy. Now, they teach us that it's all in a circle, spinning in a circle, but truly the sun is traveling by and the planets are moving behind it, you know, spiraling around. So once we get to a position right here, you know, today's October 10th, 2018, once we get back around the sun to October 10th again, we will be here, not here. So in a circle, it might look like we've completed that stage, but we've completed a new cycle and we've reached a new level in where we originally began. So zeros will are to represent power. Like for instance, forgiveness. I've learned a lot about forgiveness in this lifetime, but every single time that a new opportunity arises, I understand something more about forgiveness. So even though I might reach the same lesson, then I now have the opportunity to go deeper and reach a new level, understand a new level of what forgiveness means, and so it'll help you to kind of understand that. And that's what the 0 is going to represent, because you have the 0, you have 10, you have 100, you have 1,000. So each 0 is going to represent another level in that cycle, because as you cycle around, you're reaching a new level. So it might look two-dimensionally like it's just a 0, but if you are able to perceive that three-dimensionally, it'll be a spiral, so reaching a new level. So, like in different things, like if you think of like the number, like we already talked about 3, the number, if the number 3 shows up in your dream in any way, like there were 3 bears, or, there were 3 people, 3 men I didn't know walk up to me, it has to do with creation. Now, if it's 30, then it's a new level of creation, or creativity that your dream is sharing with you. If it's 300 people, then it's the same symbology, but to an even deeper power. So it's different powers of 10, just like in mathematics, the powers of 10. The same thing goes on with understanding the 0 and how many zeros are there. It'll pretty much deduce back down to the same number, but be more powerful. The power of that number will be amplified because it'll represent that next level that you've achieved. Just like each year goes by, we come back around to the same position in regards to the sun, but we're elevating and progressing through the solar system from here to here, even though we've reached the same cycle. So 0 is a very powerful number, and it represents power. So that brings us to the number 1. The number 1 is essentially the beginning, and everywhere you begin is with yourself. Everything in your life begins with you. In order to understand anything, you first have to understand yourself in regards to that. In order to love anyone, you got to love yourself first. In order to know God, you got to know yourself first. And so the number 1 will represent individuality. And you have to understand your individuality. And so that's why most things in a dream, we don't really pay attention to the number 1 unless the number is actually there, because it's an individualistic nature with a lot of the symbols anyways. So it's kind of washed over. But the number 1 really comes into effect when you're seeing like along with 0, like 10, so like we were talking about 0 being a power. So if something shows up in your dream, like, you're driving down the road and you see the sign that you're on Route 1, that means that you are on a path to understand your individuality, understand what you represent what you are as an individual. You're moving down the path because the road will symbolize your path in life. So your path in life is taking you on a journey to understand your individuality, who you are on your own. And then, like I said, the 0 will amplify that to the number 10. So we're kind of getting into 10 before the next week when we get into it, but it's to kind of help you understand the 0 and the 1 at the same time. So the 10 will represent the individuality to the power of 0, which is individuality in unity. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit more, but that's kind of the power, because your first lesson in understanding yourself is to understand who you are by yourself. And then once you reach that cycle, just like the sun's moving along and planet Earth is moving along behind it, once you reach that same cycle, you're in the same position. We're in the same season as last year in October today. But essentially, we're in the same position in regards to the sun as we were this time last year, but we're in a totally different space in the universe because we're floating along. So individuality, understanding who you are on your own, once you reach the level 10, that's going to be representing understanding yourself in a group of people, because that's the next step of understanding yourself. Once you've understood your individuality and you move through the cycle of 9, then you will begin all over again. And now let me understand who I am with other people around. Once you've understood who you are alone, then it'll be easier to move to the next step. Who am I with people around? Then you go on to 100 and then 1,000, so that power is just a cycle going through every time another 0 is added. So that's kind of what 1 symbolizes is the individuality. And so that brings us to 2, because 2 will represent duality, the universal law of duality. Every single thing, there is a dualistic nature to it all. people. If you talk about people, to really give someone, like if there was an alien to come down here and had to share with them what people are, I couldn't just point to one person. I'd have to point to two people, a man and a woman, because people, a human, is dualistic. There is no such thing as one human. Human, Manu, is where it comes from. Manu meaning is where man comes from. Manu, it didn't mean like a man separate from a woman. Manu is the thinker, the human, which is a man and a woman. And so that's two halves to a whole, the aggressive and the receptive. The man gives and the woman receives. And, it's just not necessarily that that's how men have to be and how women have to be, but the masculine energy, the feminine energy, the aggressive, the receptive, it is the two halves to the whole. And so that is what you want to look at whenever the number two shows itself in the dream. So like I said before, the symbol itself is the main importance, what you want to look at, but you want to pay attention to, how the number highlights that. So, if you're in a dream and there's two birds there or two fish, then you'll want to look at, the dualistic nature of, if I keep on using animals, but let's just say, I don't know, two stars in the sky. Then you want to look at the symbol itself of a star and understand that it is representing conscious awareness in the conscious mind. And then since there's only two stars in the sky, it's kind of unusual, I'm trying to think of something where the number will be of significance. Like, because normally if you look at the sky, there's a lot of stars. But if you look at the sky and only two stars are there, then it's like, something's going on here to where I'm really supposed to pay attention to this number. Why were there only two stars? So that'll represent the dualistic nature of your conscious awareness. So it might, depending on what else is going on in the dream, it might be telling you that, yes, it is very easy for you to be aware of what you have to give, what you're giving with your thoughts, what your thoughts are giving, but you made space in your mind to be able to receive from within the conscious mind. A lot of us, our thoughts are going and going and going. It's very busy. It's very hard to concentrate. It's very hard to still the mind to create space, because within space, then we can receive. If you have a table cluttered full of stuff, there's nowhere to put anything. So the table is unable to receive anything else. In order to receive, you must have to clear off the table. If a glass is full, then it has to empty a little bit first in order to receive more water. So, you have to create space in order to receive. So there is importance in meditation, but you can meditate in many more ways. Stilling the mind is not the goal of meditation. It's a byproduct of it, but so just remember that a lot of people get frustrated with meditation and just starting out because they feel like they can't still their mind, they can't stop their thoughts. That's not the goal of meditation. It is a byproduct of continual meditation. So stick with it, but don't feel like you're failing just because you can't still your mind the first 15 minutes you sit down, or the second or third or fourth time you sit down for 5, 10, 15 minutes. So just want to throw that in there. But whenever a dream symbol comes up and the number 2 is highlighted within that, whether you see the number 2 or it's 2 of that image, like 2 people coming up, then you want to look at the dualistic nature. What is the aggressive and the receptive aspect of that? Because everything has a receptive and an aggressive aspect and quality to it. A coin has a heads and a tails, but it's all one coin. It has a heads and a tails. You have your body has a left and a right. When you breathe, there's an inhale and an exhale. You can't talk about the breath without talking about the inhale and the exhale. You can't just say the inhale is the breath, because then you'll never exhale. You never get rid of those toxins in your body. You can't say the exhale is the breath. You have to understand the dualistic nature, the aggressive and the receptive to that. So pay attention to that when the number 2 shows up in the dream. So that brings us to the number 3. And the number 3 represents creation. And, not just like I was saying creativity before, but truly it's creation, the aspect of creation, like in many Holy Scriptures, it talks about the universal force being the creator or creators, and us being made in the image and likeness of the creator, which means that we are creators ourselves. So what are you creating? Are you consciously creating? Are you unconsciously creating? The number, anything showing up in your dream, and the number 3 or the number 3 itself showing up in the dream will help you to understand that. So, and the reason of this is like I said, you know, to understand a man and a woman, to understand a human, you have to understand the dualistic nature of it. A man and a woman have to be present for you to truly see the image of a human. But once, and a man represents the aggressive nature, and a woman represents the receptive nature, because a man gives and a woman receives. And once a woman receives a man, then they can create something new, create a third, a baby, you know. And so that is what the number 3 represents, is creation. You know, like in many holy scriptures, there's a triune nature to what God is, and that is because you know, like I said, many holy scriptures talk about God being the creator, and so to understand that, you have to understand that the triune, the aggressive, the receptive, and what is creating, the force that is creating. So you want to pay attention to that. So whenever 3 shows up in your dream, it's going to talk about creation. And a lot of people, like I've had the number 3 show up a lot while I've been writing this book. And so you'll kind of notice that whenever you are dreaming or have like some big project that you're creating in your life, or some aspect of yourself that you're working real hard at creating. Like I'm a Taurus bull, like I say all the time. I used to be a knucklehead, like get angry and upset so fast. But I worked hard at changing that, you know. And in the timeline of me changing that, I had a progress in the dream and an evolution of these 3 bears that would always show up in the dream. Because it was kind of like a bear, you know, like a bear. Just whenever you watch it on the video, Discovery Channel, is real calm, real, you know, laid back and chill. But whenever somebody pokes that bear, it's ferocious. So it's kind of like that, you know. And so for me, that's how I was able to identify that that's what those bears represented in me. And also it was 3 of them. So 3 of them were showing up because I was creating something new. I was taking that same energy and creating something new with it, you know. And so so you really want to understand, whenever 3 shows up, what are you creating for yourself? You know, what are you creating in your life, in your waking life? What are you creating within yourself? Who are you wanting to become? Who are you working at becoming? Who are you taking steps in ways of changing who you are? Because a change is just a transformation. So it's something might be fading away, but energy is never eradicated. It's only transformed. So what new is being created within that space? You know, when you take something away, then the space is there for something new to come. So what new are you creating? And then that kind of brings us to the number 4, which represents stability. You know, once something new has been created, then there's a level of stability there. And so the stability is represented by the number 4. So like a table, or most chairs all have 4 legs. And that's why we, you know, feel comfortable setting something on a table, because it's very stable with the 4 legs, you know. The chair, we feel comfortable sitting down in a chair because it has 4 legs. If I go up to a chair and it only has 3 legs, you know, I'm a big guy. I'm pushing 300, you know, and I'm 6'4". So I'll look at it and inspect it before. I probably won't even sit down in it, but I'll just look at it funny. Maybe wait and watch somebody else sit down, see what happens before I sit down in it, because I can already know that it can't be very stable because there's only 3 legs, you know. So it's a subconscious and unconscious understanding of the universality of the number 4. That 4 represents stability, you know. And so whenever you dream of you know, 4 things showing up in your dream, 4 people walking up to you in your dream, or you know, you go to sit down and you sit down on your plate and there's 4 pieces of chicken that you're about to eat, or 4 pieces of fruit that you're about to eat. You know, what does that represent? So like I said, the number 4, yes, it represents stability, but it's only there to highlight it. So if you have 4 pieces of food on your plate, then you have to understand what is food. And food is knowledge that we're receiving into ourselves from our life experiences and making a permanent part of ourselves. Well, the pieces of food will help you to understand the quality of the knowledge that you're receiving. So you're understanding, so that would represent, you know, that you're building an understanding of stability. You know, you're creating stability within your life, and you're learning from the stability that you're creating in your life. You know, maybe you just got a huge raise at your job. Maybe you just bought a house, you know, you feel more stable, more rooted, more grounded. You know, maybe you just got into a very healthy relationship of a partner that uplifts you and supports you, you know. And especially if that's something new for you, then that'll feel very stabilizing. You'll feel very stable from that, you know, that solid foundation that you've built for yourself. because a solid foundation is stability. Like if you build a house on top of sand, that's not very stable. If you build a house on a rock or concrete, that's stability. So it kind of represents the foundation that's built through the 0, the 1, the 2, and the 3. That is the foundation, because numbers in your dreams in general and as a whole are going to represent the structure or the construct of your developing thought. And so as you think, so you become. So the structure of that thought developing, because every thought seeks to manifest. When we think of thoughts, they will move into the mental level of the mind, which is the deepest level within the subconscious mind from this conscious physical waking life. It'll be planted there like a plant, and it'll grow roots and sprout out and seek to manifest into our waking life. If I, like we talked about last week of, mantras and creating affirmations and things, if I continually think the thought, a brand new thought of, I deserve everything I desire. I deserve everything I desire. And I continue to think that, because a belief is just a thought you continue to think. The more I believe it, the more I'll experience it, the law of believing and knowing. And the more I'll experience it until it becomes true. Well, that whole progress from the very first time of when I decide to think it all the way out to when it's manifested is going to be reflected. That development of that thought is going to go through all of the cycles of the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's what you want to pay attention to when you're paying attention to where the numbers are in your dreams. That's why I say all the time, one of the greatest things I love about dreams now, like I used to love for a reason, because I can understand how I'm using my mind. Now with lucid dreaming and everything, I can help the thoughts, the ways that I'm wanting to change, and the things that I'm creating, I can help move them along. I can go into my dreams and help move them along, help remove obstacles that are in the way. And one way that I can help understand where that progression is through the numbers. Okay, I'm at the number 6 now. So intuition and things, so I can understand that this thought is really developing, really manifesting, because the numbers will represent the development of the thought, the power of the thought, the individuality, the dualistic nature of it, what it's now creating, and then the stability. There's a stability being brought because the thought has formed in such a way that now it's stable. It's stable within your mind. So if you're doing a mantra over and over, I deserve everything I desire. Now, if it's represented by the number 4, then it's kind of sitting there on its own. You don't really have to work so hard to think it all the time. It's stable. You've created a foundation with that new thought. So at that point, you'll probably start seeing things coming into your life that you desire, and it's coming into your life, and you're not even surprised by it anymore, because you really know that you deserve it. You don't sit there, oh wow, it's working. It's like, no, I know I deserve these things now, because I've thought this so much, and I believe it so to be so much true that when things come to me, I know I deserve it. So it's no surprise to me anymore. So that's kind of an example of how a thought will develop through the mind, and then how the numbers will correlate with that developing thought, because numbers just represent that development of a thought within the mind. And it's universal, so it's for everybody, every person, place, or thing, anywhere, anytime. These symbols are universal, because beyond language, we all understand, whatever we call it, we all understand math. 1 + 1 = 2. We all understand light makes us aware of what's around us. So light symbolizes awareness. No matter what language you speak, that's what it'll represent. So this language of the images in our mind is universal. That's why I call it the universal language of the mind. So everybody can understand it. Anybody can benefit from it. So you really want to learn how to speak this language so that you can understand yourself, because these communications are coming from within you. It's not coming. Your dreams ain't coming from outside of yourself. There isn't somebody in the bushes outside projecting these dreams into your mind. The dreams aren't being projected to you from the TV, although the TV, television, telling lies to your vision. It is it's programming, and what program is on this channel that's being channeled to you. So it does influence how you're using your mind. So it can, change and influence your dreams in that way, but only to the degree that you allow it, whether you consciously allowing it or unconsciously allowing it, but that's a side subject. I don't want to get off. I can go all day talking about that. But anyway, so that's the first part of the dreams, numbers in dreams. This week we covered 0 through 4. we're going to take a break next week. Next week, we're going to be, instead of on Wednesdays at 9:30 Eastern time, we're going to be on Tuesday, because we got a guest spot on the YouTube channel, Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal. They wanted us to come on. They got like 35,000 followers, so get on there, follow them to like them, and you'll be able to definitely be sure you're notified when it goes on. So that we'll be talking about dreams, and mostly more, instead of just talking about like what dreams mean and things, we're going to focus more on the plane of existence that your dreams are occurring in. And I'm really excited about it, because I don't really it's not too often that I get to talk about that, because most people, when they talk about dreams, they want to talk about the symbols and everything, not exactly where they exist, or answering questions like, where does the light come from in my dreams? The lights, like, I know where the light's coming from right now. It's coming from that light bulb or from the sun when it's out. But in your dreams, where's the source of light? Different things like that. Where am I at exactly? Because when you become lucid, you then tend to think thoughts like that, like, where am I at? So get to answer questions like that. So it's really exciting for me. It'll be very, very informal, very impactful. So check that out, Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal on YouTube, or check out their Facebook. Be with Alex Bob. That's at 9:30, 8:30 Central, and on Tuesday, the 16th of October. So tune in for that. That'll be very powerful. I'm very excited about that, and linking up with those guys. They're great guys. And so be in tune for that. Also, just another shout out, if you want, check out the book. Like I said, most of the information in here is on all these videos anyway, so you can go back, check the videos. You can go in here. One thing that is on here, there's a memory exercise. I know a couple of you guys were asking me about that memory exercise. That's detailed in here. A detailed list of how to remember, write down your dreams and record your dreams to increase that. Already working on the next book on lucid dreams, precognitive dreams, and incubated dreams, and visitation dreams. There's a lot of people interested in visitation dreams, understanding that more. So that's already in the works. So be on the lookout for that. You can, we'll have a notification, sign up for a newsletter to be updated on updates like that on the website here soon. But as always, if you have any questions about your dreams outside of these videos, if you have a dream you want to get interpreted or know somebody who does, feel free to shoot me a dream. I wake up every day with about 2 or 3. Every once in a while I only interpret my own, but I always wake up with about 2 or 3 dreams that people want to interpret, and I don't mind at all. It might take me, have to wait until after I get off work, but I'll get around to it, so feel free to shoot me a dream you want interpreted, or if you have more questions or just a symbol specifically, check that out. Oh yeah, you can send it to either a direct message on one of these, or you send me an email, selfawareness3@gmail.com. So keep on the lookout. So we won't have another video next week, but the week after that, we'll be back on Wednesdays at 9:30, 8:30 Central. And on that week, we'll be talking about the numbers in dreams, and the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we'll go through those and talk about like the completion of the number cycle, and then going into 11, 12, and 13, or 10, 11, 12, and 13. So, like I said, the symbol of power, 0 symbolizes power. So once you hit that 10, then it's another power element to all the rest. So we'll get into all that, 3 weeks from now. So be on the lookout for that. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I hope this was beneficial to you. And as always, I leave you all in peace.